Welcome to week 11. By the way, we only have 2 more weeks of APGov. Isn't that exciting? Like 2 more weeks of content, and then we're transitioning to writing week, which we are in for it. And then we are in APGov for 2 weeks. And then we are in review for a week. And then we're on break. And you know what is super exciting? Break. 2 weeks away from you people. Light my heart on fire. Anyway. Alright. Your headings this week is the media and interest groups. Yes. How controversial. Actually, this week isn't what scares me. There's been other weeks that have scared me. This week is not. Alright, here we go. So when we talk interest week, media and interest groups, it's the fourth estate is the nickname for it. Does anyone know what this is in referral to when it's called the fourth estate? It's a historical thing. APGov kids, you better, AP World kids, you better know, because I literally taught you this week. French Revolution. Matthew, what is it? Matthew, oh yeah. Matthew, what do you like? What is it, Adam?
States General.
The Estates General of the French Revolution is what's going to teeter it over. Did you people learn anything in your history classes?
That's a history one.
But like I asked you like a lot of history, questions, because this is a history class, and like y'all don't know the answers. Yeah, but some of it's shockingly bad that you don't know it. Some of them are more like, how do you not? Do we have concern about this? Oh, we just completely just charge on to knowing nothing. Huh? You got a 5? On which exam? Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll just pretend like nothing is wrong and everything is fine. But like, how do you not know? Estates General, French Revolution, it's the like teetering thing, tennis courts. Then they're like, let's burn this shit down. And everyone's like, let's burn this shit down. And then they burn the shit down. No? Okay. Mass media. But my seniors, nah? French Revolution?
That was sophomore year.
No, you should have it in AP European.
I'm not taking
AP World is in it.
that.
A push, they reference it. Hello, we caused it. Y'all should know it is what I'm saying. How? It's our first existential crisis. Anyway, moving forward. Hello. Mass media is print sources. What would be an example of a print source? Newspaper, magazines, don't forget them, they're very influential, especially for women. Okay? Movies are mass media. Okay? We get a lot of our fashion and culture cues from the movies of such that we consume. So they do have an impact on our culture. Radio. Does anyone here listen to the actual radio on regularity? Oh, thank you. Oh my God, so appreciate it. All right. Thank God. No, those are podcasts.
What if they're in the radio? Like podcasts on the radio and not on
No, because you don't turn an AM, FM dial for it. Well, thank you. My last class, no one. And they literally made fun of me. So thank you, radio people. I like the radio. I just hate trying to adjust to the song by my phone all the time. You know what I mean? And this is where they started making fun of it, and it hurt my feelings. television, what do you think are the most influential on politics and government, of course? Yeah, Fox News, CNN are the two big news channels here in the United States. A lot of people also get their news from local news. Okay, and as we learned from the pandemic, does the president have a lot of influence on our direct lives, or does the governor? Governor has a bigger role in our lives directly than the president of the United States. So keep that in mind. We really did learn that with the pandemic, right? Every state had its own rules for the pandemic. Every place had it a little bit different. And so we're going to get that from television. Our news about our local is going to come from television. News media, and it goes back to the CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, and then internet and social networks do fall under social media. They're mostly talking about people who are getting like crazy hot. Yesterday, I posted a picture to social media of my avocado toast. I love avocado toast. Yes, I'm a white girl who went to Ohio to see pumpkins and fall leaves, and I eat avocado toast when I go to brunch. That's how white I am. With that being said, I posted a picture of it to my social media, and I had 4 people like it and comment. So please watch the way you talk to me. I'm a mogul. Thank you. With that being said, is that what we're referring to when we talk to social networking and internet? No. We're talking to people who have a pull in the ranks of these places. We're talking about the Zuckerbergs who are controlling and facilitating all these things, not the idiot who posts a picture of her beautiful avocado toast that her husband made her. It was so nice. Okay, major concepts of the media. Here we go. So the first one is yellow journalism. This is when it is incredibly biased. Like you can see it. It's literally tinged yellow because it's so. Like if you see a news article posted on a website that says Joe Biden announces he's an alien, I would say that's probably not a pro-Joe Biden post. Can we agree? I don't think so. Most people aren't like, you know what, let's claim aliens as a way to really bolster support it. Okay? So, that would be a very yellow bias. Okay? It is so stinking. It's rotting. It's turning yellow. That's what it's from. Okay, muckraking is when like mass media outlets or like newspapers or television focus on criticism of the government exclusively. Muckraking is when you focus on criticizing the government exclusively.
Facebook criticism.
Seriously? You're gonna make a
I
woman
think the
who's...
C's and the S's.
That's okay, it's your notes, not mine.
No, no.
Luke. I mean, it typically is. But yeah, it would be. But what would that look like? That's not. Typically, when you, yeah, it would be, I guess. We typically use other words for it. Editorializing is when we're trying to put positive things with a more official stamp on it. Does that make sense? So typically yellow is going to be a negative criticism that's trying to pawn itself off like it's not. Okay? What do you got, Lilith?
This is negative criticism viewed as positive from one side. Because if you're criticizing the president negatively, just one side. And that was,
But what...
so if you're doing it in a positive way, the other side will find bias.
This is 2022 right now, and this is literally how our politics are being given to us right now. Can we agree? Now, when we're talking about muckraking, which I'm going to come back to you in a minute, Lilith. When we're talking about muckraking, it is important for you. This is not a perfect example, but I'm trying to keep it as relevant as possible. So don't listen to the full statement before you go home and report. Okay? Both CNN and Fox News are muckrakers at times. During Trump's administration, who was the muckraker? CNN. Everything Trump did was wrong, horrible, everything's on fire, nothing is good. Now that Biden is in power, who's muckraking now? Fox. If you turn on Fox News right now, do they say anything positive about the government? No. Same thing during Trump's administration with CNN. So, it's not just one side. Now, this is not the greatest example of muckraking because both CNN and Fox News, if you can believe it, try to come off as middle ground people. If you can imagine saying that with a straight face. Okay, on both sides. Muckraking is typically used on the extremes. However, we have seen it in our daily lives, whether you watch CNN or Fox News. Hopefully, if you watch one, you also watch the other. Yes? I happen to watch both. And I'm always appalled by the coverage of the same story. Have you ever seen them? Have you ever watched CNN? And then you flip it to Fox News and they're covering the same exact story. And you're just like, how did you get there? Right? Okay? That's kind of what we're talking about. I'm not going to say yellow journalism because it's not as flagrant, because it has more of a different component to than yellow journalism, but it is a lot of muckraking. Chain ownership goes back to a small, I would underline small, group owns 98% of all media companies. It's only like 30 people own all media companies. Isn't that insane? What is the downside of chain ownership? That one person, like the Murdoch family owns Fox, okay? So they own Fox News and all of the things that stem out of it. They also own like 4 or 5 newspapers. They also own a bunch of websites affiliated with newspapers and just other websites. They own like 15 magazines. They obviously own the Fox brand on television, so anytime you see Fox, they own all of that. What is the problem with having only 30 people owning all media? What's the downside of it? Emily? Absolutely, they have a ton of power. The power of freedom of the press is really controlled by 30 people. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a bad thing, which means these 30 people, and it's a little bit more than that, but it's not huge numbers. These 30 people literally control the daily conversation of what's happening in the United States. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Do you think they always have us, the normal people, at the heart of their concerns? No. CNN and Fox News make a lot of money off of you and I getting upset about issues, so what do we continue doing? We continue watching, which boosts their viewership. So every single day, whether you turn on Fox News or CNN, they're all upset about something, yes? That the world's about to end because of this, this, and this. Why? Because it gets us to keep watching. Because we're so outraged. We gotta know how it works. Okay, that's chain ownership, where they can control all the different components. Thank you. Perfect. Can you pass that all the way back to Kate? Okay, the big 3 is television, newspapers, radio. Those are the 3 most powerful mass media. Okay, now, if we're doing the modern equivalent, I'd say we get rid of newspapers and replace it with internet. Okay, so internet would replace them, but it's television, radio, newspapers are your historical 3. Editorializing. Okay, the biggest key about being an editor is that you get to share your opinion in the newspaper. You're the only opinion allowed to be printed in the newspaper. Okay? As editor, that is your privilege because of your position. That means everything else in the newspaper is supposed to be unbiased. Okay, now is that always true in 2022? No. Okay? So, editorializing is when news articles beyond the editorial page or throughout the newspaper have opinions of the authors. Okay? The editorializing of newspapers is when the opinions of the authors are found throughout all articles. Is that what news is supposed to be? No, it's not supposed to be that way historically. However, do we like that in 2022? To a degree. Think about all the people we follow on Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok. Okay? You follow people's lives and they tell you what they ate and what they're wearing and what they think about things, correct? Don't you follow your little influencers? I follow. I'm not going to tell you who it is because I don't want you to judge me. But I have like 3 influencers I follow because they always find the best stuff on Amazon, and I find Amazon is too overwhelming to search through. And so my little influencers tell me what to buy, and I do buy them. At like 4 o'clock this morning, I bought an organizer for my jewelry. It's going great. I'm really excited about it.
I follow those too.
Yeah, it's so
And then
convenient.
you watch them prepare their stuff.
No.
Oh, that's why.
Oh,
These
no.
people are doing themselves.
No. I don't get those videos. I don't understand why people watch them.
Oh my god, because like the sounds of like them whipping the pens and everything. You don't watch them.
No. No, I just like I need a
It's so
jewelry
sensitive.
organizer
It's so
because I just moved into a new house. I don't have the storage I used to have, and like I need to figure this shit out. And I didn't feel like looking at it, and so my little influencer for this morning had one, and I was like, oh my god, perfect. And then I bought it, and here we are. We in 2022 enjoy the personalized experience of getting to know our authors. This is because we've had more of an editorializing newscasting than historically has been experienced. Traditional news is not supposed to have the opinion of the reporter or the author. Today in 2022, we have a more of a desire for more connection between the author and us, which is why this is becoming more and more common. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing because it does, and you're going to need to know that. It's a bad thing because we start to lose the ability to separate facts and opinions. Oh my God, is that a problem in 2022? Is that a concern we have for our Thanksgiving table? Where with politics come up and your crazy uncle says something ridiculous and you have to tell him, dude, that's not a fact, that's an opinion. And then it spirals into chaos and pumpkin pies on the wall. No, is that not a fear we have? Oh, me neither. Emily. That's the quintessential, but it has spread into everything at this point. Off the record, ladies and gentlemen. Off the record is what, Anna? As you're
It's like-
doodling on your iPad.
No. I just read this stuff. It's like when the news people that know something and when they share it, they can't say like who it's from or something.
Okay, so one of the most historically respected newspaper author or writers in the world is a guy named Bob Woodward, who's been studying government and politics for over 50 years. And he worked in the press briefing room for Trump. He wrote a couple of books about Trump, and today he actually, which kind of works nicely, just released an audiobook with Trump. During Trump's 4 years in office, Bob Woodward had him on phone calls 16 times and 4 official hour interviews where Bob Woodward obviously recorded them to write the stories and stuff like that. Well, today Bob Woodward is releasing an audiobook. So instead of you hearing Bob Woodward tell the story, you're actually hearing Trump's voice doing what would have been a transcript of Trump. So you can hear the inflection and you can hear the tone changes and all that stuff. He thought it was a really important way to hear him answer some of the big questions that Bob Woodward was asking, especially around January 6th. He had his last conversation with Trump on January 8th. And so he asked Trump about it. And so you can hear like the inflection change and stuff like that, so you can come up with your own ideas and thoughts about it. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because Donald Trump called Bob Woodward 16 times in that 4 years to talk on the phone knowing he was being recorded. He only asked to be off the record 3 times. In that whole 16, I think it's a total of 9 hours of voice recordings Bob Woodward has. He only has to be off topic. And in one of the things that I saw on Good Morning America this morning, I watched clips on YouTube. It literally has Donald Trump says off the record and it goes blank. And it like holds it for like a really awkward amount of time. Like 30, 40 seconds. And then he cuts back in, okay, I'm on the record again. And then the whole thing cuts up. The whole reason for this is what you need to write down, is that it allows the reporter to build a relationship of trust. Off the record exists because it allows the reporter to build a relationship of trust in order to get the better story. Not the easy story, but the better story, the long-term story. Because the more comfortable a person is, and you honor their off-the-record thing, they're going to keep telling you more and more stuff, right? And that is where they're going to forget to say it at one point, and then you have like a really good story that you could break. What do you got?
In the future, could he use this post about the record, or would he?
No, he cannot. It is protected by law. You should maybe write that down. Off the record is actually protected by law if you make it clear before you say something. Okay? So, Lucy is talking to a reporter. And Lucy's like, oh my God, I totally cheated on my boyfriend. And she's like, oh my God, off the record. Off the record, off the record. Does it count? No. But if Lucy is giving like a frame of reference for something and says off the record, and the reporter says off the record, so there's a mutual understanding, then they cannot use it. Okay? It is protected by law. Now, this has played a major role in the Me Too movement. Warren Farrow, the guy who broke all that story of Weinstein. Aiden, you better pick your head up. Dude, I woke up and I am here and I have a cold, so no. Warren Farrow broke the story. He had over 30 women come to him and tell him things off the record about Weinstein and all the sexual abuse and rape and all the allegations, but none of them went forward and to go on the record. So could he do anything about it? No. The importance of on the record and off the record. On the record means you can automatically go to publish and you can declare it. Off the record is still important because it gives you context and understanding of how things work. So when Rowan Farrow finally had a woman who was going to go on the record and say, this is my name, this is my experience, he already had a foundation of understanding that he could lay out and support this woman's cause. Does that make sense? So, on the record is obviously the ideal, and it's what you can actually print with, but off the record stuff is important too. Lucas, did you have a question?
No.
Okay, bias. I mean, if you don't know what bias is in 2022, I can't help you. And adversarial press is when you have two organizations going against each other and competing. Who would be a perfect example of two news organizations going against each other and absolutely hating each other? Adam. Absolutely. They absolutely hate each other. And they go against each other. Who gets higher ratings? Fox. Fox News gets higher ratings. By like a significant portion. It's not that close. There's a lot of reasons why one over the other and a lot of different kind of components. But yeah, Fox News does win on the rating scale.
Fox versus
CNN. MSNBC, I think, is third. By like a pretty big gap behind CNN. Alright, so print media. So the first print media is going to be press. Newspapers are going to be your first. Why are newspapers going to be our first mass media? Why, Adam?
Because they're easy to produce.
Yeah, it's super cheap. Now that we have the printing press, okay? For God's sake, Ben Franklin edited 5 newspapers at a time, for God's sake. Newspapers were super cheap, easy, ever-changing. People would buy them for pennies, okay? So, From newspapers, where we get this idea of yellow journalism, which is not an idea, an actual thing, and muckraking, of course. Now, when we talk about print media, newspapers are going to be your oldest. Now, radio. So the number one mass media, the oldest historical one, is newspapers. Second thing is radio. This is the second major branch of your mass media. When we talk radio, radio is invented in the late 1800s, but it doesn't become like commercialized, aka regular people like you and I can own it, until about the 1910s. During the roaring 20s, when money is more available, lots of people are buying radios for the first time. And then, of course, the economy completely craps out in the Great Depression on Black Friday, when the economy, Black Thursday, when the, I get that messed up all the damn time. I always say Black Friday, but it's not Black Friday. It's Black Thursday. But the reason why I say Black Friday is because Thanksgiving. Idiot. Anyway, when the stock market crashes in 1929, we're going to see that the whole nation is going to be listening to FDR's weekly addresses. You need to know that. His fireside chats. So, the first major form of mass media is going to be newspapers. The second is going to be radio. Radio has access to rural America. So for the first time, rural America is hearing things at the same time people in the city are. That's a huge deal. Now, the origins of what makes radio special is that radio could be without a filter. It was unfiltered to the people. FDR used to broadcast every single week, and when he called his fireside chats, or talking to America about all the things the U.S. government is trying to do to make their lives better. It was him to the people of America, no filter. His wife, Eleanor, did something similar, but for housewives, of coming up with tricks and tips of how to cut money from the budget, how to save money, tools, different accessibilities for people to save money. This was from their mouth to the people with no filter. Newspapers have a filter, and who is the filter? The editor, the newspaper, the actual writer. There's two filters on a newspaper. Radio originally started as no filter, and that's the big unique component. Eventually, modern day, radio is now an echo chamber of personal thoughts. Write it down. Radio historically was unfiltered, as in politicians speaking directly to the people. Today in 2022, it is now an echo chamber of one's thoughts. When you turn on a radio station, you are picking either a conservative or a liberal component. Luke, I just yelled at Liam, man. Pick up your damn head. Thank you. So, now, if I tell you I watch NPR, you're going to scream that I'm a raving liberal. I don't want to listen to NPR. But if I'm telling you I listen to Limbaugh, I'm a Stars and Stripes conservative. See ya. Kennedy is. But Limbaugh is like the original. He's the OG. And O'Reilly is the other big one. No. This is like the guy who has fallen from fame.
With the books, so there's like he writes all those books.
He does write some books, but also, yeah, he does. He has some of that. He also is not on Fox News anymore because allegations.
I don't watch that stuff.
Man. Bye, my darling. Have a nice day.
To watch it. How do you not enjoy it? Have a good day.
Bye, sweetie. Have a nice day. Because, like, you could be doing it yourself instead of watching other people do it.
Like she's restocking her diabetes stuff,
I just can't.
and she does it with everything in her desk. It's actually really good organization.
Buy a bunch of clear buckets. That's
Does
what
that
I'm saying.
sound not so satisfying?
No. I'd rather just be doing it myself.
Is the Ben Franklin thing with the key a myth? With the kite and the key?
He did something similar-ish, but all right.